your source for everything paranormal. Para-X. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para-X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
And welcome everyone to another Wednesday night for the Calling Radio Show, along with Kimberly Juarez. How you doing, Kimmy?
Doing good, Jerry. How are you?
I'm tired. I'm like really tired.
I'm tired too, and I think it's the weather because we had some beautiful weather not too long ago, and it just like gave up. Like it snowed today, it rained today, it's cold today. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to be like this all week off and on.
Yep, two times it was snowing. It snowed in the morning, and there was quite a bit. I had to drive to my dad's place, and it was even more out there. And then I come back, and it's like, oh, okay, great, it stopped. But now it's misting, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I look out again, and here comes down some big flakes. And I'm like, Mother Nature is so off her meds. This is it. I've had it.
She is.
You know? Enough is enough. But anyway, it's doing good right now. So our guest tonight is Mai Hernon. Mai, how are you?
I am absolutely blessed and I feel great, Jerry. And it's great to be back again talking to you and Kim and to all your listeners.
Oh, thank you. This is great. I'm so glad to have you back. So now you're also your www.secretislandtoursllc.com, correct?
Well, it's Ireland. Secret Ireland, Ireland.
Right.
Tour.
I said Ireland, didn't I?
Well, it's kind of like you say Ireland the way I said three.
I love it.
Okay, I'm going to explain that now. One of the first things I asked Mai to do, I said,
great.
Can you say 33,333,033 cents? And she's like, 33. And then I was like, and I just had to do it.
No.
I just love the accent.
I think she said it first really like calm and everything, and then she realized that she's going along with the 33s, what you did.
I realized what it was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, for your guests, for your listeners, 33,333 and 33 cents.
There you go. There you go. All of a sudden, I just had something punch up on my screen that has never been up before, and I don't understand. What? There, now it's gone. Wow, I couldn't see. No, it's back. Okay, there we go. Weird. Okay.
My little leprechaun friends, sorry.
Yep, that's what it is too. It's that and the fairies have attacked Minnesota. You know.
Listen, guys, leave the man alone.
So now, you haven't been doing any of the tours yet, huh?
No, because I had to reschedule everything for the last 2 years. I was hoping that, maybe 2020 would be salvaged in 2021, but of course that didn't happen. So my first tour is in May 1st of May to the 9th. I'm bringing my ambassador for that tour is Patty Negri from Hollywood. She's the so she's my ambassador, the Good Witch, exactly. Yes. And actually, talking about fairies, Jerry and Kim, I'm bringing them down to this really magical farm down in Galway. Pat Noon is the owner of the farm, and it's called Happiness Hills Farm, and he actually has a fairy fort and a fairy porthole on that land, and people come all over the world to camp there as well. He has a standing stone. He has cairns on his land. It's a really magical place. But I'm bringing them down. He's been gracious enough to allow me to bring the group down, and he'll show them it's he's got the white horn and the blackthorn intertwining, and he has the fairy porthole there and the fairy fort there.
Wow! And where's this at?
This is in Galway. This is a place in Galway. Happiness Hills Farm in Galway, and his name is yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So now, where's the first? Now, when you get get this trip off and you get to Ireland, how do you say
Ireland?
it?
Yeah.
Ireland.
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 Yes.
Ireland. Okay. That place across the puddle there. So what is the first place that you're going to be bringing everybody to other than that place? There's got to be more than just that one.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. There's the first place we're going, actually, as soon as I pick them up from the airport, I'm going to bring them to Kilmainham Jail. Very, very haunted. This is a jail that was used by the British to house men, women, and children before the Easter Rising and, hundreds of years before that. Very bad conditions. A lot of people starved to death in there. But the Easter Rising was the war that gave us our independence. It was the beginning of it, let's say. And the rebels that fought in that war and that the leaders of that conflict ended up being arrested and brought to Kilmainham Jail, and they were executed by the British. And when I tell you that the place is haunted, it's very haunted. So we're going there first. We're going to go up to locations on the Game of Thrones. It's called the Game of Thrones tour. So we're visiting Castle Ward. We're visiting Tullymore Forest. We're visiting the Dark Hedges, Giant's Causeway, places like that. And then we're going to come around by Donegal, and I'm going to bring them to this most beautiful place called Slieve League. It would be the Donegal version of the Cliffs of Moher. And
wow.
Then we're coming down to Sligo, and we're going to be visiting a whole pile of different places in Sligo and Galway and Clare. And
wow, when are we leaving?
Just yeah, we're going to have.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. And of course, Patty will do her thing as well when we walk. And I mean, it doesn't matter. The poor woman has no idea what's going to hit her when she goes to Ireland, because you go the roads of Ireland and they're haunted. She's just going to be overwhelmed with the whole lot.
Right.
No matter where we go in Ireland, you'll find spirit there.
Nice.
Nice.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So now, are you going to be doing anything in the crypts?
No, we're not going to. Usually that is in St. Patrick's and Christchurch. We're not visiting them this time. Okay. But I have a tour going October the 26th to November the 3rd, and that actually is a Halloween journey to Ireland. And that's, Halloween originated in Ireland.
Really?
Yeah. Halloween is Samhain, and it is the celebration of the new Celtic year. Mm-hmm. So, how you've got, those pumpkins. You do the pumpkins thing,
right? The jack-o'-lanterns. Yep.
Well, okay, where that originated, the houses in Ireland, and I don't want to be talking too much. Stop me if I start talking too much, but I get
you're doing fine.
Our houses at home have fireplaces, and we always burn turf and coal and things like that in the houses. Mm-hmm. So years and years and years ago, we always had a fire. We would smoulder it at night when we go to bed, which means that the house would be, there'd be heat in it. It wouldn't be very hot, but there'd be heat in it in the morning. So you'd start the fire anew in the morning. It'd never actually go out. So during the time, the Halloween, what would happen is there was always these traditions. the farmers would, fire was a very, very important thing to the Druids and to the pagans, and they always celebrated through fire, and they always cleansed through fire, and they took, evil spirits away from the animals. So the night of Samhain, or Halloween night, they would light fires in the land, and they would herd the cattle through the fires, believing that the fires would take away the evil spirits and that the cattle would thrive for the next year. So at the same time, the families would let the fire go out in their house, clean out the fireplace, the hearth. They'd go to the communal fire. There was always a communal, big, massive bonfire. They'd go to the communal fire. They would scoop out a turnip, and they would put a lit coal or lit coals in the turnip to bring it back to start the New Year's fire in the fireplace. And that's where you get the pumpkin today.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah.
So that's where that tradition came from, lighting, putting a light inside the pumpkin.
Oh, I'll be darned. I never knew that.
Yeah, there you go.
Huh. So now somebody's asking me in the chat room, they said All Saints Eve?
All Saints Eve, and then there's All Souls. All Saints is the
All
first,
Souls.
and there's All Souls the second. And that's when the veil is very, very thin. That's when we believed that our ancestors came back and walked the land, because we'd open the front door. We'd actually sweep out anything, in any dust or anything, out the back door, and we'd open the front door. We'd let the negative stuff out the back door, and we'd open the front door, and we'd welcome good energy in.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be darned. I guess I never knew about that. Did you, Kimmy?
Yes, I did. Actually.
Oh.
Yep.
And it was another thing we used to do at home, always. The tea leaves that were left in the teapot, that's the time you used to make tea with tea leaves. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
We throw them out to the fairies
Oh,
on the eve of Halloween. We threw them out to the fairies to appease the fairies. And we did that every Halloween.
Now, what if you didn't do that to the fairies?
I don't know. We always did it. It's a funny thing, For instance, and I don't know if I told you about this story before, Jerry. We, to this day, you will not get a farmer to interfere with a lone whitethorn grown on the land, because it's believed that they're portals to the fairy world and to the underworld. And
wow.
it is also believed that if you interfere with it, you will have bad luck, because the fairies don't like it. And you will go around Ireland and you'll see fairy forts, and you'll see these fairy trees, and you'll see there was an episode. This is how serious it's taken in Ireland, and this is the truth. There was a fairy fort in the way of a main highway being built out of Dublin, from the Hill of Tara to Dublin, somewhere around that general area. And the local people said, the planning permission was given to the local authorities to build this road. And there was uproar in the local area. You cannot touch the fairy fort, and you don't touch it.
Mm-hmm.
That went nationwide. And the people of the country says, we won't drive. There's no way we will drive that piece of road if you build it over a fairy fort. The people stopped it. It was not built over the fairy fort.
Wow.
And that's only maybe 20 or 30 years ago. It was not built over the fairy fort.
Wow. I'm quite surprised. Kim, what's your reaction to this?
Well, I think I believe it. I heard that some fairies are nice and some are bad. Some are,
They're all okay if you don't mess with them.
Right. Exactly. I would think that, so exactly. So I wouldn't mess with something like that either. I mean, especially if you see them all over. I believe in fairies. I do believe in fairies and little people and whatever else. I believe in full things like that. So, there's a whole different world out there, and fairies is one of them, you know, and I know they do come a lot. There's a lot of fairy stories in Ireland, you know, that are true
And
stories.
there's a lot of ring forts and fairy forts there, and the respect that the locals have, and the respect that the farmers have for it. There's no way they'd mess with them. I mean,
no.
they just won't. There was an old woman, well, she wasn't a very old woman. Her name was Bina. I'm not going to give her a second name. She was like a druidess. She knew an awful lot about an awful lot, and she was a healer, and she was a storyteller, and she was a singer, and she used to, this local radio station, one day, I'll tell you how it happened. Her house burnt, and the local politician spoke to the local radio station. Now, this radio station had, many thousand listeners. So anyhow, the DJ ends up ringing her, and whatever happened, everybody just loved to listen to Bina. So he decided to ring her on a regular basis. And she would give cures of arthritis or cures of whatever it was. And people would ring in eventually and ask her for cures. But what she started doing was she realized she was developing a massive listenership. And she thought, because she was always out to help people, no matter what she did, it was in order to help people. So she thought she could use the airways to raise money for children's charities and children's hospitals. And that's what she started doing. But one day, this guy, after she had been interviewed, this guy rings in and he says, she's always on begging for money. Why do you allow her to be on begging for money? So she came back on and she put a curse on him. That's why I say when we curse, it's only words. But if I put a curse on you, it is a totally different animal.
Right.
You do not want an Irish person to put a curse on you. So this woman, she put a curse on him in the Irish language. And he ended up 2 weeks later losing his job. He ended up. So the people started ringing in, asking the DJ, please tell her to reverse the curse. Please tell her to reverse the curse. And she just ignored it. So eventually it came to the government buildings that talked about it in the government hearings or whatever you call it. And the politician that had originally introduced her to the public, he asked the DJ, please contact her and ask her to please, undo the curse. That's how serious the whole country was ringing them. Please tell her. So she came on, and even though she was from the mountains or the hills or whatever, she knew exactly what she was doing, and she knew exactly what she was saying. And she was asked to, Bina, would you not consider reversing the curse? And she says, it's like this, she said. If he doesn't deserve it, it won't land on him. In other words, if he doesn't deserve it, I've done no wrong, it won't land on him. And she didn't reverse it.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a nationwide discussion for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I won't piss somebody off. I'm not.
She felt that he was trying to stop her from doing good.
Right.
And she put this curse on him.
Wow. So curiosity, when it comes to curses and stuff like that, how can someone cancel the curse or get rid of the curse once an Irish person has put it on them?
I don't know. You can probably just say that you're cancelling it. I don't know. I don't know how she would have done that.
So there's no whiskey involved?
I don't know.
Never know.
There might be. Then again, you see, Jerry, if you don't deserve the curse, it won't land on you.
It won't land on you.
That's true. That's true.
But if you do deserve it, well, tough.
Yeah.
Right.
You should change your ways.
So a curiosity, I mean, the old Irish compared to new Irish, meaning the kids and stuff like that. Is there more of a belief among the older, and how's the belief among the younger, like the millennials and stuff like that?
Well, you see, when I was a kid, we always went to houses and we'd have music sessions and we'd have storytelling, and it was more of a communal thing. Now everybody is so busy trying to survive, I suppose. There's no such thing as camaraderie or neighborly getting together anymore. It's not the same, unfortunately.
Right.
I remember as a child listening to my grandmother telling me ghost stories about the house she lived in down the road from us. And, they were genuine ghost stories. These things happened to her, and you'd hear other people talking about ghost stories as well. And that was when people got together in their houses.
Mhm.
But that doesn't happen as much anymore. I'm hoping that maybe someday it'll go back to that, and, people won't be glued to a television morning, noon and night, and they'll decide that, going out to see the neighbour is a good thing.
Right.
The music is still very much, I don't know if you get too many sessions in the houses, but maybe since COVID, maybe that's been happening a little bit more too, because people couldn't go to the pubs because the pubs were shut down.
Mhm.
And you can't put a good musician down. They'll find a way to get together and play music.
Right.
I shouldn't be saying that, but of course the Irish government won't hear me say that, so I think I'll be saying that.
You're in Kentucky. Don't worry
I'm
about
in
it.
Kentucky, yeah.
So we have a question. Kat, one of the people in our chat room, she's
Hi, Kat.
asking, is she saying an Irish person can cast a curse? Is it any Irish person, or,
Any Irish person can cast a curse if they're that way inclined. I wouldn't do it. I'd be afraid that I would do something that I wouldn't be able to reverse.
Right.
Okay,
I
so
would feel
if
But
somebody,
most people don't even know that they can. Because
Oh.
that's another thing, that you lose along the way too. But yeah, it's not just something that you'd want to do. You wouldn't
Right.
do it lightly. You just wouldn't do it lightly. It's something that is very, very rarely done. But yeah.
Wow. I'm just sitting there thinking about COVID and all these older Irish gentlemen that go to their bar or
Yeah.
pub, and then not being able to go. It's like there must have been some tempers flying, something fierce.
So, and I'll tell you what I don't want to give energy to that word. I don't want to give energy to that. But there was a massive amount of suicides in Ireland. It was,
Oh my God.
it was
Really?
off the charts. Yeah. And again, and not to lecture anybody, but I think we have to think happy thoughts and we have to look to the future with happy ideas, because I think that we're in a battle between good and evil. And evil wants us to be afraid, and evil wants us to be down and out, and evil wants us to be depressed. And I think if everybody could get up in the morning, look in the mirror and smile and say, I'm going to have a bloody great day today. And I don't care what you say, I'm going to have a great day today. And if everybody rises their buoyancy and rises their energy,
Mhm.
we will ascend to a higher level. And
Right.
Right.
don't let the powers that be keep you in a state of fear.
Right.
Now,
So,
lecture over, everybody. Lecture over.
Gotcha. But bloody mean a really good day, not, go
Yeah.
out and kill 30, 40 people.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, there's my Irishness again. A bloody good day means having a fantastic day.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let's see now. Steve B
It's
is
like
asking.
the crack, Jerry. It's like the crack. When I talk about the crack, I don't mean stuff that you smoke. I mean,
Right.
crack in Ireland means having a great time.
Right. So Kat was, let's see, who was asking?
Steve
Oh,
B.
Steve was, yeah. Is casting a curse a pagan thing?
Well, it probably is a pagan thing, because you wouldn't do it if you were a good Christian.
Right.
Yeah, it probably is.
Okay. Okay. So you've, okay. How do you think that COVID is and all the people that have passed and everything else, is that going to be a big rush, do you feel, on spirits and everything from, more people kind of coming through when it comes to be, the thinning of the veil and everything?
Well, it would have to be, I'd imagine, because I mean, a lot of these people have gone before their time.
Right.
Some of them, a lot of them have gone just at their time as well, but a lot of them have gone before they were ready to go. It wasn't something that they were prepared for, you know.
I believe
And
that.
yeah, and they might not be totally settled on the other side yet. So I'd imagine again like that, the eve of Halloween is the veil is very thin at that stage. I'm sure they probably there's an attachment still to their home and to their families and everything. How you write that, I don't know. I suppose if you do meet up with spirit, you always ask them, is there something you can do for them?
Right.
That's the first thing you do is, can I help you? Is there anything I can do to help you?
Right, exactly. So now, curiosity, do you believe that there's only one veil that's thin, like in the fall? Do you believe that in the springtime, the veil is thin also?
Yeah, I think that at different times of the year it is. It's not just once. And I think it also would depend on where you are as well.
Gotcha.
Or it might be how attuned you are to the other side as well,
Right. Yeah, because today it was sunrise at 7:10, sunset at 7:29, so the veil's pretty thin right now and everything. Okay. Kimberly, you go for it. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I was just wondering, so on your tours right now, do you change your tours like every year to make them different, or do you
Yeah.
try to go with them for a little while and then change them? Because I noticed that last year's a little bit different than, or
Yeah.
I think the last time we talked to you was a little bit different than the ones now.
Well, I'm lucky, I'm blessed because I often have repeat customers.
Okay.
So what I try to do is, because, to be honest, if you have a tour company that's going to tell you you're going to see all of Ireland in 9 days or even in 15 days,
Right.
it's going to be very rushed and it's going to be very brief. And it's absolute, and to me, it could be an absolute waste of money because you'll be on a bus most of the time.
Okay.
So I pick sections of the country and I get people. It's not just about the hype or, my tours cover everything. You could be on a golf tour, or you could be doing yoga, or, not all about ghosts and haunted places. Most of the places I go to are haunted anyway. And if you're that way inclined, you'll feel it, but a lot of people go for the history of it. But I take a section whereby you get a chance to spend time in every place you visit. And you're not rushed, and you get a sense of the place. And when you're taking photographs, not alone do you do that, but you learn about it from one of the locals. And there's an awful lot of history in an awful lot of these places. A lot of these castles go back to the 11th century and 12th century. And you've got that history, but not alone have you that, but you've got your myths and legends around it, and you have your local stories and legends around it as well. And it's nice to be able to spend time. And when you're taking photographs, in 10 years' time, when you're back in America and you're looking at these photographs, you'll think, oh yeah, that's the place she told me about. That was, that's the 12th century abbey, and it's, you'll know some of the history of the place.
Right.
You'll know exactly where you saw it. That kind of way, because too many times when I was in Ireland, I used to see people jumping out of a bus. And there is an abbey that is a 12th century abbey. It was about 10 miles from me at home. And it's an absolutely fantastic, it's the ruins of an abbey, but there's all stone carvings inside. And the history of the place is just unbelievable. And to walk through that, you can see the magnificence of what was there at one stage. It must have been an absolute magnificent structure and building. And then people learn about that and they get the chance to learn. So basically, that's what I do.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Hold tight, everybody. We're going to be right back in a moment. We're going to run to break, and then we'll run back. So hold tight.
If you're looking for a truly unique podcast experience, we have you covered. Spirit Bayou with CJ Dunham airs live from the Third Coast in Southeast Texas on Tuesday and Fridays at midnight Eastern Time, covering Creole folklore and folk magic to strange paranormal activity to new equipment for the field. CJ Dunham is a Catholic swamp witch, a devotee to our Mother Mary in the Trinity, a true believer in our Lord, the Holy Ghost, and Christ. Peace be with your spirit and the spirits by you.
Hey Heidi, have you listened to The Calling lately? Why, yes, Steph, I have. It's really good. Have you? Absolutely. It's what I would say is a wild and woolly affair. So does that mean it's a wild and woolly Wednesday show? Well, I definitely think that's true. So you know we listen, since The Calling is the sibling show to our show, The Gathering. Listen to The Calling radio show with Jerry and Kimberly Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Para X Radio Network.
Dead Zone. I want to give a huge shout out to Shauna and congratulations on her new podcast, Exploring the Paranormal Perspective. You'll hear some amazing guests like me, paranormal and true crime stories, and more. Catch her Wednesdays at 8 Central on the Para X Radio Network.
Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
And we're back. This is Jerry with The Calling and with Kimberly Juarez and, of course, Mai Hernon. So also, guys, hey, listen, if you've just joined us and you're wondering what happened in the first half, well, I'll tell you what. If you wait till tomorrow, yes, tomorrow. I mean, listen to it now. You can always turn it off. But anyway, tomorrow it'll be on www.thecallingradioshow.com and also on our YouTube channel, The Calling Radio Show. And remember, there is tons of awesome shows on Para X. I mean, tons. You got Geeks Paranormal right after us. Very excited. Shauna does a very, very nice job. You also have, on Tuesday nights, you have The Gathering. And you have Stephanie and Heidi, and they pull up to that metaphysical table, and they let go with both barrels. So have some fun. There's tons of great shows. Take a listen to them. All right, guys, we are back. So, let's see. What was I going to ask you? Okay, so when a person goes on to one of your trips and stuff like that, tours, whatever, exactly how long are they gone for? I mean, how many days do you have? How many places do you usually hit?
Normally, it's an 8-night, 9-day tour. We could hit about 20 places.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Dang.
Oh my gosh. Let's sign up. Come on, everybody in the chat room.
Here's an idea now for your listeners, because I'm putting it to you again. So I put you on the spot, Jerry. You know how I have ambassadors? And I was telling you about Patty Negri being an ambassador. I have a woman, Halloween secret Halloween journey to Ireland this October. Vanessa Hogle is her name. She's a psychic medium as well. She's my ambassador for that tour. But we could do a tour, Jerry. You could be my ambassador, and your listeners could come with us in 2023.
I would love to do that.
What about visiting the likes of Leap Castle? Sean Ryan is a good friend of mine, and he owns Leap Castle, and it's one of the most haunted castles in Europe.
Wow. What kind of stuff has happened there?
There's two little girls that Charlotte and, what's the other girl's name, the little girl? They appear most nights, and when they appear, their governess in a black dress appears with them. Now, sometimes Sean will hear them. One of them went up on one of the towers and she fell down, and he can hear her scream. Now, there's an elemental there as well that he does not want disturbed. But the church upstairs, up on one of the floors, it's called the Bloody Church. It's very, very haunted. This castle, which dates back to the 11th century, was eventually left to two brothers, and one of them was a priest and the other guy wanted to own the estate outright. It wasn't just the castle now, you're talking about many, many acres of land. And he was a nasty piece of work. He actually killed his brother while he was saying mass up in the church. Then they reckon that around the building there's a lot of activity because the people that helped this guy to kind of with the land and with the castle, they did a lot of rebuilding after it was attacked. They came from the village down the road and they came up and they worked, and instead of paying them, he poisoned them.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a nice guy.
You can feel it right around the place, and walking into it, you know yourself, doorways are kind of conduits,
Right.
that walking in through a doorway, you can feel it, and going up the steps up to the church, the pressure, they don't want you going up there. And actually, off the church, there is one of those murder holes, we used to call them, but there's a different word for them over here. But these castles were built all sorts of ways to keep the people inside safe. So they had this thing called a murder hole, and if you walked in a trap door, you'd go straight down and onto these spikes.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, and a few years ago, they excavated one of these murder holes in Leap Castle, and they took out 30 carts of bones out of it.
Wow.
So,
God.
I know.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That just gave me the chills.
Yeah. But Sean lives there. Sean lives there, and he's a musician. That's how I know him. He's a musician, and he lives there, and you can do an investigation at night there, or you can just go and visit it during the day, and he'll cook a stew for you, and it's great.
Nice.
Wow.
I bring people there, so we could go there, Jerry, and there's a place outside Sligo. It's a very holy place, but it's a pagan place as well. A lot of these places where there's holy wells they also have wishing trees. Mm-hmm. And again, the history there is can be brutal as well. Beautiful, beautiful, peaceful place, and there's a wishing tree there. So you've got the Christian aspect with the altar and the well and the holy well and the candles, and then you've got your pagan wishing tree. You can put your piece of rope or your piece of thread on the tree, and you can make your wish or give your troubles to the tree, and the cosmos will take it away.
Nice.
Really?
Yes.
My God.
But
I would be camped out at that tree for probably 3 days.
And they're scattered all over Ireland. Those wishing trees are scattered all over Ireland.
Wow. I've never heard of that before. Have you, Kim?
No, I just think just like all the touring and all the things you tell us, it's just amazing, I can't imagine. And besides, Ireland is old, super old, so it has beautiful, enriched history in these castles and cottages and all these, awesome, it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful place.
And the scenery, Kim, is absolutely beautiful. And, it gives me a great thrill because I see people, when you say breathtaking scenery, I've actually seen people lose their breath looking at the scenery. And I mean, it gives me a great sense of satisfaction that
Correct.
they get that reaction, you know.
Right.
But
Right.
Right.
And it has old, we have bone setters, for instance, and we have healers. And, you know, we're still very much belief in, I went to a bone setter years ago. I had a slip disc. I went to a healer who had the cure of asthma. My two younger kids had asthma. And actually, I have a tour next year. It's the healing wisdom of a Celtic druidess. I actually have this tour going over. She is going to teach different healing methods, Celtic,
nice.
druidic methods, singing bowls, through art, nature, and traditions. And she's going to bring people out onto her. She has sacred land. She is an amazing person. And they're going to come over and we're going to do a 9-day tour there. And they're going to have 2 full days of touring. But the other days, they'll have 2 half days of touring. And then the other days will be of being in her center and learning healing through music, through all sorts of things. She's going to bring us out and she's going to teach us about herbalism and what we can get from the land. She's going to teach people how to connect with their own DNA.
Nice.
Wow.
And quantum healing. She's doing quantum healing as well. So it's really, that's called, for anyone who's interested in that, anyone who's into healing. And she's also a psychic medium. She's the girl I told you about that I brought down to the underground passage tombs, and she heard the but she is, that tour is called Healing Wisdom of a Celtic Druidess. And my ambassador for that is Mary Jane Brigger, who is a spiritual healer as well. And she's up in Salem, Ohio.
Oh, we should get her on the show.
Yeah, you should get her on the show. She's very nice and she's very good. That's June the 1st to the 9th of 2023.
Awesome. I think we need to do that. So now, question for you. What is a place that you will not go into? There's got to be at least one place that you refuse to go in.
There's a few places, but I remember one house in a place called Elphin in Roscommon, and it was one of these English estate houses. You know, it was, how can I explain it? They're always big houses, and they were there during and before the famine. And these were English owned, and they might have had an English person living on them, or they might have had an Irish person that was paid to kind of keep the peasants in place. They wouldn't have been liked very much. It's kind of like Downton Abbey or one of these houses. And I happened to walk in there. There was somebody I was working for at the time, and they were refurbishing the house. And I walked in the front door, and as soon as I walked in, the hall got longer and it got darker. And as I went forward, the darkness came around me. It was, how can I explain it? It was like a thing. It wasn't just light. It was, you could nearly touch it. I can't explain it exactly now.
It felt kind of a feeling of being in.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I thought, I don't care if I lose my job. I am not walking one more step. I felt there was a bad feeling. There was an evil feeling of that place. And I'll tell you something. I turned on my heel and I was gone. And I said, I'm never walking in there again. I don't care. I'm not walking. You can get somebody else to do it. I won't go in there again.
Oh gosh, geez.
Yeah, it was a coldness and a darkness. It was an evil kind of a feeling of the place.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
What, or darned. I said darned.
Darned.
So, now, how long does it usually take to fly over there? It takes like...
Depending on where you're going from, Jerry. Let's say if you're going from Chicago, it's only 5 hours.
It's only 5 hours? That's not too bad.
Now, if you're going from Cincinnati, for instance, you have to stop in Chicago, so it could end up being 9 hours.
Okay.
So depending on where you go from, you know, like New York is only, 5 hours, I'd say.
Wow. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The only thing is, though, I can't swim, so
Don't worry about it.
a little nervous about it. They have lifeboats,
Yeah.
right? I'm just worried because, I have this extra baggage around my stomach. So it's like,
Oh, Jerry.
if an alarm goes off because he said, "Oh, that's a little overweight." Wait a minute. What?
Jerry, you're funny.
Okay, so you have that. You're there for 8 days.
9 days.
Or 9 days, 8
9 days.
nights.
Yeah.
You could be up to 20 different places.
Yeah.
Okay, this is so funny. So we've been getting lots of email requests just now. People are sending in, and they must be friends of yours. Everybody's wondering, do you happen to have your guitar with you? Can you sing us something?
I can sing you something. I don't have any instrument with me, but I can sing you something if you like.
Okay, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people are asking for that, so if you could, please.
Would you like something in the Irish language or something in the English language?
You surprise us.
All right, I'll sing you a short little song in the Irish language. It's actually a love song. It's only 3 verses. And this is about a man who is watching a woman herd her cattle down to the meadow. And he, like Irishmen do, he falls madly in love with her. Just like that. So he says to her, "Can I walk with you? Can I be with you?" And she says, "You can walk with me, but you cannot be with me." And he thanks her very much for the honor of being able to walk with her, herding her cattle down to the meadow. That's basically the song. And this song was given to me actually by a priest years and years and years ago. And he told me that he heard or he read somewhere that the melody of this song, Verdi heard the melody of this song, and Verdi was extremely jealous that he didn't come up with this melody. Now, it's a very simple melody, but Verdi was kind of disappointed that he hadn't been the one that authored it. So, it's called Eileen Aroon. Now, Eileen is the name of the woman, and Aroon, the Irish for my love or my darling, is Aroon. So, all right?
Okay.
Here we go. Yolan fain na gaun o lad, Eileen Aroon. Yolan fain na gaun o lad, Eileen Aroon. Yolan fain na gaun o lad, she's good rowly lad, mar hiwn go mi no glaunas lad, Eileen Aroon. Adiog tu no no wana tu, Eileen Aroon. Adiog tu no no wana tu, Eileen Aroon. Tioki mes ni anen me, tioki mes ni anen me, tioki mes ni anen me, siloi me lamstor. Kate mille folgerot, Eileen Aroon. Kate mille folgerot, Eileen Aroon. Kate mille folgerot, folgis fiarot, ni kate mille folgerot, Eileen Aroon.
Wow.
That's beautiful. I loved it.
It is. That's great.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
loved it.
It's a nice little love song, yeah.
That is.
Very
that is
good.
amazing.
Oh, my gosh. You make me want to go back and learn Gaelic
Yeah.
again. I used to, and I think I used to bug Steph and Casey with it all the time and stuff, because they're like, "What time is it?" It's on o'clock. or like that. But it's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're very
That's
welcome.
great. And here we go again. More emails. No violin.
Oh, no, my son plays the fiddle. He's up in New Jersey, and my middle guy actually he's my musical director. He's one of the best flute players in the country actually, and he organises music for us when we're over there. He gets all our musician friends together, and we get up and we dance and we sing and we have great fun.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to do this. I can't wait to, go there and stuff like that. Now, do you have, out of curiosity, in some of these places that are haunted and everything, are there any outdoor places that we go in at nighttime?
Well, we can. You see, we could go down. I'll tell you a place that we should bring you to. We should bring you down south and go to a place called Spike Island. It was called Hell's Island because it was a prison, and you can do nighttime investigations. There's Let Castle that we could do an investigation. There's what's the name of the castle? Charlesford Castle. Oh, there's so many places you could do investigations. The place is riddled in places that you can do. We could do investigations in 2 or 3 of them. We could have 2 or 3 different investigations on the tour if you wanted, and then go to places during the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's exciting. This is really good.
We'll put it together, Jerry, and you'll have to tell your listeners. And I mean, they have a whole year and a half or more. We could do it in September of 2023. That'd be a nice time.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a great time. Oh yeah, I'm definitely going to push hard on this one.
Yeah.
And get people signed up so that we can do that. It's one of my things. I've always wanted to go to Ireland, and having friends there and everything. Yeah. I know that they would travel to see it. Plus, too, they have a pizza place called Apache Pleat. Take 2, Jerry. Apache Pizza. There was no Apaches there. So It's like, now I'm curious, why do they call it that?
Well, I'll tell you now, talking about Apaches and Indians, there's a place down in, during the famine, it was about 16 or 18 years after the Veil of Tears. And in Cork, for instance, in a place called Middleton, we have a beautiful monument called Kindred Spirits. It's 9 big, massive silver feathers. And it's a monument to the Choctaw Indians, because the Choctaw Indians found out about the famine and what the Irish were going through. And however they did it, I don't know how they even heard about it, but they sent 170 pounds and maize over to the Irish people during the famine.
Wow.
And there's a monument up there in Middleton, but also once a year, there's a walk that the Irish do to commemorate the Choctaws from Newport to Lewisburg. Excuse me.
Oh, no problem.
In Ireland.
Have a shot of whiskey, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I haven't got any water. I don't drink, by the way.
Right.
I had this kind of coloured water here.
You lies.
Yeah. No, honestly, I don't. I very rarely. I might have a Baileys once in a while, but that's it. I don't like.
Oh, I thought it was a big glass of wine.
It looks like wine, but it's not.
Okay.
I don't drink wine either. I'm a boring Irish person.
So, I always heard that there was never corn in Ireland or actually anywhere on the other side of the puddle and stuff like that, and that it all came from.
It is, yeah. And they sent maize over, and the people of Ireland, they remember that to this day, and they celebrate it. The Choctaw Indians.
Wow, Kat, one of the girls in the chat room, has put up a photo of Kindred Spirits sculpture,
good.
Middleton County, Cork. And then also put up, they're both the same. Okay, for the Choctaw, yeah, that's really cool.
I brought people to that monument. And
I would love to
it's
see
how
it.
people didn't even know that it existed. It's beautiful. So people love to get their photograph taken with it on it. You know, I mean, they're massive. They are massive feathers. Beautiful.
It looks gigantic.
Yeah. It is, yeah. And that I'd bring them there after they've gone to the Middleton Jameson distillery. So they'd have had their few shots of whiskey before they ever go to the Kindred Spirits.
Yeah, that's one thing now. I can't drink and ghost hunt at the same time. Well, this is so exciting. And so now, if anybody is interested in signing up with you or anything, it's www.secret Ireland.
Yes. Ireland Tours, LLC.com. And I actually, during the COVID, when I wasn't doing anything with tours, I created another tour company. And I call it IrelandandMore.com. And that's where I bring people to a few days in Ireland and then either Scotland, Wales, or England.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
So
I guess I'll go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that might be an idea.
Is that a ghost tour or no?
No, not necessarily. But you see, the thing about it is, Jerry, I would do a tour for, let's say you want to do ghosts and haunted places. Well, I will put together an itinerary for you. Supposing somebody wanted to do knitting and they had 20 knitters that they wanted to do, I would put a tour together for them.
Nessie?
Knitting, knitting.
Oh, knitting. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't understand my accent at all, do you?
I have been drinking. No. I'm thinking only paranormal and metaphysical stuff.
I would cover anything. If people wanted to go golfing, I would put a golfing tour. I have a great golfing tour on the website as it is now. Different things.
Do you do a lot of golfing yourself, out of curiosity?
I have no idea how to golf, but my oldest son is a good golfer.
I gotcha. I tried golfing once.
Yeah, I tried it. They brought me out once. My sons brought me out once to pitch and putt, and they gave me this club and they gave me the ball, and sure, I couldn't even touch the ball. And I said, "That's it, no, I'm gone." And I said, "Go on, you enjoy yourselves. I'm sitting in the car and I'm enjoying, just going to sleep for a while."
I'm a mini golfer. That's fine.
Yeah, I can't do it. But Jerry, that's what we'll do. What I'll do is we'll put an itinerary together. I will get a jot form, and you can send it out to your people that are listening to you. All you people out there, we're going to get a jot form. You can sign up if you're interested, and then you'll be able to look at the jot form. Will give you a link for the website and for the itinerary. And you'll be able to see it there. And then if you want to secure your place, you just pay a deposit. And then if you want, I've got an interest-free installment plan. You could be paying it month by month by month. You could have it paid off way before the tour if you wanted to.
Wow, that would be awesome.
That would be really to look forward to,
Right. Yeah, most definitely. And how many years have you been doing this now?
Since 2015.
Okay.
Of course, Jerry, I've been doing it kind of all my adult life, really, except that I wasn't making any money on it before, because I was teaching traditional singing at summer schools, and people would come from all over the world to these summer schools to learn Irish music, Irish instruments, singing, dancing, whatever. So I would take my pupils and I'd bring them all around the area and I'd show them all the different parts of the Northwest, So
right.
I was doing this for a long time before I ever made a company.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, our show is ending. Sorry, May.
No problem.
So thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Sarge. Thank you, Para X. And to the troops and everybody in Ukraine, hold tight. And everybody, we'll see you next week. Have a good time and stay seated and listening for Shauna on Paranormal.
Thank you, everybody.